With Derek Lively still out with no timetable to return, the Dallas Mavericks are looking for size. They're looking for big men to help Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving just blaze through the playoffs. Also, with that size, maybe try to look at some forwards as well as centers, as the Dallas Mavericks are trying to get a deal done before the trade deadline. How's it going, everybody? My name is Marcel Martin. This is Mavericks Digest. We're bringing you the latest and greatest of Mavericks news. And without further ado, let's just dive right into it. The Mavericks are targeting Andre Drummond from the Chicago Bulls. If you've been keeping up with the Chicago Bulls this season, it's been an up and down season. Hasn't been the best, hasn't been the worst, but still falling short from those playoff aspirations that they had coming into the season. But with Derek Lively out with a broken nose, he just had the surgery this past Monday to kind of reset it. He's already listed out for their Thursday game against the New York Knicks and unlikely to come back Saturday against the Thunder. The Dallas Mavericks need size. With Derek Lively out, Dwight Powell and Maxi Kleber are going to have to play heavy minutes. But if the Dallas Mavericks can try to find a good big man, or maybe not a great big man, but a big man that can at least play interior defense, that could help them tremendously make a great playoff run. And a player that could fit that mold would be Andre Drummond. Mark Stein reported that the 76ers, I'm told, have indeed registered interest in Chicago's Andre Drummond, joining the likes of Boston and Dallas. Now, this does not surprise me. Joel Embiid just went down. He had a weird flap tear in his left knee. He just got surgery for. They're saying Joel Embiid will be out for about a month, maybe two. He probably won't return until right before the playoffs. So it would make sense for the 76ers to be inquiring on any big men to help them stay in the top of the East before they go into the playoffs. But the Dallas Mavericks also have a big man who's out in Derek Lively. And like I said, with Derek Lively out, you've got Dwight Powell, Maxi Kleber to play the five, and those two aren't necessarily defensive anchors that can really anchor down the interior on defense. But one player who has been known to just play excellent rim protection basketball, is Andre Drummond. With his stats right here, he's 6'11", but he really is 7 foot. Let's just give him that one extra inch. He's 279 pounds. He's a center, averaging 7 points, 8 rebounds, shooting 55% from the floor. That's really good touch around the rim from a guy that size. His points and rebounds are down from his career average of 12 and 12. Those are most likely from the good old days in the Detroit Pistons where he was a walking 20 and 15 every night. Long have those days been passed. And now, coming off the bench for the Chicago Bulls, sometimes he does start. You know, those averages aren't too bad. I'll throw back up to 7 points, 8 rebounds. But what you really want is just someone to protect the paint. The Dallas Mavericks will most likely have to see the Timberwolves or the Denver Nuggets, meaning that they're going to have to match up against Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, Jokic, those type of big guys. Maybe even the Lakers, if the Lakers can kind of squeak into the playoffs, and maybe the Mavericks will have to see Anthony Davis. And I'm sorry, but Dwight Powell being a great backup big for this team is not the starting center you want going up against Anthony Davis, Jokic, or Karl Anthony Towns for that matter, let alone Rudy Gobert, a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year candidate. So you definitely want to find some size, someone that can just anchor the defense, who can just be a threat down low, a rim protector, and Andre Drummond can definitely be that guy for us. And what that trade package may be, I'm not too sure. The 2027 first-round pick might be the only pick that the Mavericks are willing to move right now. There have been grumblings. I know in the last video I talked about Grant Williams and possibly Tim Hardaway Jr. being packaged in a deal as well. But the asking price for Andre Drummond can't be too high. But I think Mark Cuban and the Dallas Mavericks have enough to make that happen because, like I said, Derek Lively's out. We don't know when he's going to be out. And with a broken nose, it's more of a day-to-day type of thing. We still have Dwight Powell, who can be a serviceable big off the bench, but for your starting big going into the playoffs, you need size. And Andre Drummond provides size. The big penguin waddles his way into the paint and just blocks shots left, right, and center. He's the guy that the Dallas Mavericks need. He's the guy that we definitely need going to the playoffs, or someone of that caliber. The Dallas Mavericks are in need of a center. Andre Drummond fills that role, but he isn't the only player that the Dallas Mavericks have been inquiring about. The Mavericks are also targeting a few forwards across the league. Now, I know a few names have been tossed around the rumor mill of Kyle Kuzma, Wendell Carter Jr. There's a lot of players just floating around the grapevine, the rumor mill of possible trade targets. And a few players have been mentioned linked to the Dallas Mavericks because, again, the trade deadline is tomorrow. We don't have enough time. A deal has to be made. Mark Cuban has to hit those phones. But, like I said, a few players have been on our radar. Fisher reports that it seems unlikely at this juncture that Dallas, or Sacramento for that matter, will be able to find a deal that satisfies Washington's asking price of multiple first-round picks for Kyle Kuzma. Jeremy Grant and Wendell Carter Jr. are both off the table for Dallas, and that is just a big hit to us. Those few players are pretty highly regarded in the NBA as key players that any championship team could really use. I mean, Kyle Kuzma won a championship with the Los Angeles Lakers. He's no scrub as well. We have his stats up here. 21, 6, and 4. I can see why the Washington Wizards want a couple first-round picks for him. I'm not sure that's something that the Dallas Mavericks can muster up together. He's 6'9", 222. He's got a really good size, good build. He shoots the three ball, not the best at 32%, but 45% from the floor, 80% from the free throw line, which would definitely help in the clutch when come late playoff games. As it comes down to the wire, everyone's fouling. Kyle Kuzma gets fouled. I can trust that he'll hit both free throws at the free throw line, shooting at 80%. I'm not mad at that at all. Kyle Kuzma would be an excellent addition to this Mavericks team. But if the Washington Wizards don't think that the Dallas Mavericks, or even the Sacramento Kings for that matter, have enough to get it done, like I said, I'll throw the report back up. Multiple first-round picks. I don't blame you. Washington might be going in a rebuild mode or retool mode. I know Jordan Poole hasn't really been in high regard lately or really in the favor of the front office of the Washington Wizards, so he may not really be the belle of the ball for the Washington Wizards, but Kyle Kuzma could fetch you a hefty price. Maybe not a Rudy Gobert-esque trade of 5 first-round picks, but I think 2 first-round picks and maybe a young player, if we could package maybe Josh Green, Jaden Hardy, even though I like those guys and I don't want to see them go, but maybe a good young player, 2 first-round picks, maybe that could be enough to just entice the Washington Wizards. Like, hey, I know you're going through a rebuild. I know that you're not really in a position to really win games. You and the Detroit Pistons are holding down the bottom of the standings, so make a few trades, 2 first-round picks, maybe Josh Green or Jaden Hardy, and get it done. I mean, we have to find players that are on the same timetable as Luka Doncic. And even though I'm a big fan of Jaden Hardy, I'm a big fan of Josh Green, those guys are really good young players. But we need players that are ready now. Not necessarily players who need development, who need time, who need a few games under their belt to really get a feel of the NBA, especially come playoff time, which is a complete different beast. You need experience come playoff time. Kyle Kuzma, championship pedigree. He won with the Lakers in the bubble. He could definitely be of service for this Dallas Mavericks team, for Luka and Kyrie. Be the third piece, create the big three. Who knows? Who knows? But another player who's been linked to the Dallas Mavericks radar, who we're looking for, I mentioned in the last video, PJ Washington. And here I got his stats this time. 6'7", 230 pounds, a power forward, plays the 5 when needed. 13 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, shooting 45% from the floor. The 3-ball ain't too bad, 33%, 72% from the free throw line. I'm not mad at that either. He's definitely a player that we could go after as well. Like I said, with the roster, how it's constructed, and the way that Mark Cuban wants to go with this team, obviously we're in win-now mode. Our window of winning has opened, and we are going full speed ahead. PJ Washington could be that guy that we trade for. And in my opinion, I think you pair him with Tim Hardaway Jr. So instead of trading away Tim Hardaway for PJ Washington, Grant Williams. I think PJ Washington is a little bit of a better defender, a much better scorer than Grant Williams. Grant Williams, a first-round pick maybe. Josh Green, send it over to Charlotte. We get PJ Washington back. You got PJ Washington as a starter. You got Tim Hardaway Jr. off the bench. Hopefully you can get Andre Drummond too. That way you just have a good bench unit to help Luka and the rest of the starters whenever they have to take a few minutes of rest, because you don't want to run Luka 38-plus minutes a game in the playoffs. You got to keep him well rested. We got to keep him healthy, especially with Kyrie, who they both just came back from injury. I know we got a few months until the playoffs, but these are the type of things that you want to keep in mind now, especially with the trade deadline just around the corner. Again, another player that the Mavericks have been linked to, Isaiah Stewart, over there in Portland. 6'8", 250 pounds, strong center. Only 6'8", but he plays that center position well. 11 points, 6 rebounds, shooting 47% from the floor, 37% from 3, but it's not on a high clip, or, a high amount of attempts, and 74% from the free throw line for a big. I'm not mad at that either. I think Isaiah Stewart would be a great addition. I think also we could get Isaiah Stewart for a cheaper price. I'm thinking maybe Grant Williams and that 2027 first-round pick. Hey, there you go. We get the Time Lord back, and he would provide great defensive presence down low. Again, when we're up against possibly Anthony Davis with the Lakers, or definitely Nikola Jokic, who I feel like will be an indefinite matchup for this Mavericks team if we go far, or even Sabonis if we somehow match with the Sacramento Kings. Zubac with the Clippers. The Western Conference Finals is loaded with good big men. In the Dallas Mavericks, we're relying heavily on our rookie in Derek Lively, who I'm a big fan of. I believe he deserves Rookie of the Year, but that's just my bias. But we need to have that insurance policy in case Derek Lively's out for extended time with his injury, or something happens come playoff time. God forbid, Isaiah Stewart could be that dog. He could be that guy. We saw what happened a few years ago when LeBron made him bleed. He was ballistic. He was like a bull in a China store. You could not stop that man. I need that tenacity on this team. I need that energy for this Dallas Mavericks team come playoff time. And I think you can get it cheap. That 2027 first round pick, you may have to part ways with it, and maybe a role player, maybe Grant Williams in the first round pick. I would definitely do that for someone like Robert Williams for that time. I'm sorry, not Robert Williams. I'm tripping. For Isaiah Stewart. I was talking about Robert Williams. I'm sorry. Isaiah Stewart. That's who you want for this Dallas Mavericks team. Another player. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Maybe that was it. That was it. Isaiah Stewart. That was the last one. I thought I had more for you, but those are the players that are linked to the Dallas Mavericks. Like I said, at the time of this recording, it's February 7th. The trade deadline's tomorrow at the end of the day. The Dallas Mavericks have yet, at this time, they have been yet to make a move. They have yet to do anything. No trades have come through. I've been watching my phone for any Woj bombs or any Shams reports. Nothing yet. But that doesn't mean we're not doing anything. Mark Cuban is a smart man. And, our GM, Nico, he's also a smart man, too. Ever since he joined the team, he's really been making good moves left, right, and center. We got to trust it. We got to take our time. We got to be patient. We don't want to make any rash moves. That 2027 first-round pick, we don't want to squander that. If we trade that away, we're going to go the next 2 years without a first-round pick, and then what do we have to show for it? Another failed playoff run with Luka, another year wasted where he's entering his prime, where he can really be that guy for us and hopefully live up to the hype that he brings, because the hype is real. No myth about it. He is a legend, Luka Magic. And again, every video I'm campaigning for the propaganda for Luka Doncic for MVP, because he deserves it, because he's that guy. And like I said, you got to sometimes win something to prove something. Win a championship, prove to the world that you are that guy, Luka. I believe in you. But that's all I got for you guys right now. If any other news breaks out, I'll be here dropping a video for you guys. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll be back. Y'all take care. Peace.